Well, hello YouTube, it's Zoe at Hunt's Urban Prepsteaders, and I've just got a quick intro here to my next video, which is how to make this lovely sea buckthorn and orange marmalade. Now, don't worry if you've tuned into this thinking you're going to go in, oh, wait a minute, I wanted to make orange marmalade and she's saying sea buckthorn. The way I make my marmalade is I always do, and I do it with all my jams and my jellies and everything, is that I make all the liquid first before I weigh it and decide how much sugar is going to go into it. So I just use up the fruit I've got, and that's the way I've always made things. So it really doesn't matter. And at the point I put the sea buckthorn in, further down in the video, I tell you that this is the point where you wouldn't have to put it in if you don't have it. So really don't worry. This is really just like a simple how-to of how to make marmalade. It's just that I decided I wanted to add the sea buckthorn because I've been on that wonderful foraging trip. If you go back about three videos, I think. And my last video I made the jelly as well, the foraged jelly from all the different berries. So that one was from all of that, and what I had left over was the sea buckthorn, and because it's so full of nutrients and vitamins, and I wanted to have it in the storage. And I've also made a load because it makes a really nice, and made doing everything for gifts for Christmas this year, so it's going to be one of like my very special things inside of my gift baskets for Christmas. So I hope you like this video, and onwards it's like, you know, once again the before intro after I've made it. But anyway, and I just want to say thank you so much to all my subscribers, because I have got 100 subscribers now, and I know like the big YouTube channels are like 100 love, whatever, but to me, just, you know, it's taken so much bravery for me to get in front of a camera and do this, coming from being, you know, a sick person to going into recovery and just changing my life and everything, and doing this sort of thing, and to know that there's 100 people out there that are just supporting me and interested in what I do, it means the absolute world to me. I literally did a little dance when I read that 100, so thank you so much. And you know, please don't forget, if you're new coming along, to like, share and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy this video. So here we go, how to make marmalade. Okay, so here we are at stage 1 on how to make orange marmalade. So what I'm going to be making here is orange and sea buckthorn marmalade, where I'm going to use some of those wonderful sea buckthorns I've got in the freezer from when I went foraging. So what I've got here is I've got about 12 oranges left over. Now marmalade is normally made out of Seville oranges because they have that real bitter taste that goes with the sweetness of the sugar and with the rind, and it gives you that distinctive marmalade taste. And what we had is, we love oranges in our family. We buy loads of them and eat them all. My daughter loves them, but suddenly, like, because we only buy organic oranges, suddenly they were coming back so bitter, and I was buying some more, and that bones was really bitter. So we've kind of had a break from buying them. It must be seasonal with the organic ones. And these are so bitter that I thought, well, I'll make marmalade out of them, because they've got that same Seville bitterness that Seville oranges have got. So that's what we've decided to do. So like I say, I've got a crock pot here with about 12 oranges of the leftover oranges I had, and I've covered them in water and also the juice of 2 lemons, and I'm going to literally now boil them away on the oven for about 2 hours. I'm going to put them in, bring to a boil, take them down to a simmer, and then just leave them for about 2 hours. Now, some people say for the best marmalade, you can actually put it in the oven, which is why I've put it in this cast iron pan, because they're going to go, if I need to, I can just chuck them in the oven and leave them to go slowly later. And a lot of people say the best marmalade is if you leave it in the oven overnight for them to do this stage. But I'm going to just leave them in the pan and see how we go. If I've got time to run it through and do the next stage later, and if not, then I can just leave them overnight to soak and do them the next day. I'll probably get the next stage done later on today. So there you go. So I'm just going to bring this to the boil and then simmer them off for a couple of hours, and I will see you at the next stage. Oh, by the way, also filtered water. I always only use filtered water, and we have a special really great filter that we use. So I used the filtered water and organic oranges, organic lemon, and so far that is the only ingredients we've got in here. So anyway, see you at the next stage. Okay, so here we are at phase 2. So I have taken the oranges out of this pan. I ended up boiling them for about 4 hours on a very slow boil. maybe a little bit too much because they've kind of disintegrated, but it's all good. So what we've got now is I have separated, decided not to show you this bit because it was really messy. So I have separated I've cut them in half and I've scooped out the oranges from there, and I've got them in a bowl. Now in this bowl I have got a few peels as well for the ones that really had gone disintegrated, but it really doesn't matter. And what you need to do is, when you have got them like this, you need to scrape out as much of the pith as you need to, because the pith is it's where you get your pectin from. So the pith in the oranges, now it doesn't matter what's in here because this is all going to be strained after we've done phase 2. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add this back into here, into this pan, and I've also got my seabuckthorn. Now at this stage you could add what you like. I'm adding seabuckthorn because I want to add it for the nutrient content, and my idea is I'm adding my forage berries to a lot of the things that I make, so that we've got things in the storage cupboard that are really high in vitamins and omega fatty acids and things. So I'm not adding loads, I'm only adding half the stock, and the rest I've actually got on the dryer. So these are going to go in here. Now, like I say, at this stage, if you wanted to, you're not putting seabuckthorn in, you could actually put in like a couple of stems of cinnamon, or you could add ginger, or if you want to add make a Christmassy sort of marmalade, or just the marmalade, just the oranges would be absolutely fine. So now I'm going to boil this away. I'm going to stick the lid back on and stick it on a slow heat, and I'm going to boil this down. The idea is now that we are removing the pectin, we're getting all of those nutrients out of the food, out of the fruits, and we're boiling that pectin now from the pith, from the white bit of the orange, into this. And then after this we're going to strain it. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to chop up and take off any of the little black bits off, you know, the little core bits off the orange peel, and make some nice thin bits of peel, which I'm going to add after the straining process. So I'm going to get boiling away, and we'll see you at the next bit. Right, a quick bit in the middle while I'm boiling away here on the pan. As you can see, I'm processing the peel. Now what I've noticed is this is really quite, there's still a lot of the white pith on there, so I'm using this sharp knife and running it along. You want to try and get this peel down as thin as you possibly can. The last little bits will come off when we boil it at the end, but we don't want this white on there, that will ruin your thing. So I'm literally taking it off and chucking it in the pan as I'm going, as we're boiling. So just a quick bit to make sure you know, as you can see here, you want this lovely thin peel, as thin as you can possibly get it, with the least amount of the white on it as possible. And there we go. Right, here we are at the next stage. So I have boiled up all of this. You can see it's starting to get dark in my kitchen, so the light's not great. As we all know, Zoe's dark black kitchen. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to, you can see all of this has been mashed up, and sorry, camera angle again, mashed up and thing. I'm going to bring this over here, and I'm going to run all of this through the sieve. It's going to take me ages, because what I want to do is slowly push it all down and make sure I've crushed up all of those berries that are in there. Like, you probably wouldn't have to do that if you didn't have seabuckthorn in and it was just a normal marmalade sauce. You would just be running it through, it wouldn't take so long. But I'm going to be really meticulous about this and get it so it's running through. You could jelly bag it if you really wanted to go for a lovely clear jelly with just the rind in it, but most marmalade you don't, you just need to run through a sieve. So that is my next phase, so that's where I'm going now. So I'm going to be here for however long, passing this through, and then we'll be ready to go on to the final stage of making our marmalade. Okay, so now here we are at the finished sieved liquid, which we've got here, which is ready to go in the jam pan. I'm weighing it before I put in the peel, because I'm not going to count that as the weight. So I'm going to use my, here quickly is the leftover gunk, which I'm going to put in my compost bin. But if you've got chickens, you can feed it to the chickens. I actually did debate about whether I was going to dry it and use it as like a powder, because you could do that. It's full of nutrients what you've taken out, but I don't know if I can be bothered. So anyway, here we have, and please excuse my lighting again, my jam pan ready to go. And we have, I'm going to use my normal ratio I always use, so that's for every 600 mils of liquid I'm going to use 350 grams of sugar. So I've got an odd amount today. I've got 1,580. So I'm going to put about 900 grams of sugar in this. I'm a sort of wing it merchant. Everything I do is a sort of estimated. I'm hoping, because it's boiled down for that great long time, that it's going to be full of pectin from the pith of the white part of the orange. And we're going to get going now. So I'm going to weigh up the sugar and I'll bring you back when I'm starting to make the marmalade. Okay guys, here we are at the final stage of making it, the fun bit, the actual jam making stuff. So here we are. So what I have here is I have 900 grams of sugar, which is, I'm just using, I usually use granulated, but I'm using an organic. I'm trying an organic sugar here. Sorry, didn't see me pour that in doing that. So we're going to simmer this until this has dissolved, and then we're going to stick it, whack it up and do it on the thing. I'm adding the orange, which I decided wasn't, the orange peel, which I decided was not thin enough, so I've just spent half an hour making that nice and thin. And there we go. Let's take that away. So what we have here is we have all the orange and the sea buckthorn sieve juice, 900 grams of sugar, because of, if you look back on the video, the weight of what I had, me working it out and my, wing it, work it out way, and the orange peel, which we're now adding, and we're just going to stir this up. We're going to simmer this until the sugar's dissolved, then I'm going to whack it up onto a full heat and just cook it until it's ready to set. So I've got a couple of plates in the fridge ready to test on the setting thing, and really now it's just to take it as you go. Now I'm turning that on. I've got the lids, as you can see here, to my jars, and my jars here which are ready to go in the oven, which are going to sterilize while I'm making the marmalade. Now I don't put the lids in the oven, I just water bath them, because lids can sometimes melt and then you're left with a melted lid and you're in the middle. You're getting the jars out because you have to get them out when they're hot and pour the marmalade in while it's hot. So the best thing to do is I just like to do them on there, and then I sieve them out and I put them on hot straight off the oven. And the other thing is as you can see, I am working with, I mentioned it in my last jelly making video, but I'm going to mention it again just in case you haven't seen. When you're making jams and jellies and marmalades, they take their time. They literally are ready when they're ready. You can get thermometers to check the heat and to check how it's doing, but I don't use any of that. You can literally tell. After a couple of times of making it, it changes. It kind of gets like a toffee look to it, and it's reduced down quite a bit as well, and then you're at that setting point. And this can take its time. It can take from 15 minutes and it can take up to 40 minutes. It depends on the quality of your fruit, the amount of pectin inside of your fruit, the amount of pectin that you've added, and also your oven. And as you can see, this is urban Prepsteaders, so I have the worst oven type for making this kind of thing. I have the, oh my god, you can hear my lids bubbling away. Let's take them off for a minute. As you can see this is a ceramic oven. And getting your heat up and getting a rolling boil on this is not fantastic. But I still managed to do it with it. It just takes patience, and it usually takes a bit longer. Now, when you're making your jams or jellies or marmalades and you get to about an hour and it's just not setting, now is the time that you're going to need to add some extra pectin if you've got some. Just to add like a sachet, you can buy them in sachets or you can buy them in liquid, maybe half a bottle of liquid or one sachet, and then you can give it about another 10-15 minutes and it's going to set. So I'm going to get these lids on the boil and get these jars in the oven. And also with jars, when you're making jams and jellies, you can, if you're getting the jars straight out of the oven, sterilise. These are washed. with soapy water, rinsed, and now they're going to go in to be sterilised. I've also done more, always do more, and different sizes, because I changed my mind when, you know, what size jars I'm going to be doing in the end, and this should be plenty. A couple of big ones and then some little ones for gifts, as most of my jams and jellies go as Christmas gifts. So that's what we do there. So the thing is now, once you've done that, when you fill this up with the hot liquid, once it's, let me just check and see if this sugar, oh, sugar's still not quite melted. Once you've done that and you've put them in and you've sealed the lid on, that should be fine. It should absolutely be fine. Or you can water bath. And like I've said before, I do have a water bath, but it's the size of my cooker top. So you can't, it's a nightmare for me to get that out and get that boiling to then put the jars straight in. So I can sometimes do it on a later date, but jams, jellies with the sugar in it and the heat should seal fine and be fine for years. And that's how, the way I do it. I've never had any problems. So there you go. So I'll see you at the next stage when we've boiled away, because the last thing you want to do is be watching this boil away for probably take me about half an hour. To see how it goes, and when we pour it to when it's at the setting stage. Okay, see you then. So as you can see, we've got it's probably through the steam is going to be a nightmare, and I've managed to get my husband to film for me, so I've got two hands. I've got it boiling now, and what I'm doing is you get like this scum over the top, and I just take that off. Excuse the Paw Patrol plate, but I'm just taking that off. And we've got this on the rolling boil now, and really this is all we're going to do. We're just going to keep it boiling, and I keep stirring it because it does overflow otherwise, and just keep going until it reaches that setting point. Okay, we are ready. If you can see, you can actually see the difference. You can actually see it's got that toffee look to it, and it's pretty much got a little tiny bit of this scum, which I'm going to take off just before I jar it. You can just see that little bit around the edge. But it's bubbling away. I've just turned it down, and I'm going to show you on the plate. What we want is you want to push it, and you can see like a wrinkle. I don't know if I can get it in the light, but you can definitely see that it's turning into like a jelly. So that is ready. Wow, that is amazing. That is ready to go. So we are off. I've just drained the jars off. I'm about to get the lids off. I'm about to get the jars out of the oven, and we are going to start bottling up, jarring up. So here we are, it's the next day, and I have finally jarred everything up, and it's all set, and it's wonderful and lovely. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jars and one tiny little one. And the reason why I've got a tiny little one is because we're going to see, saves me opening a whole one, what it's turned out like. Well, it's definitely set. And there you go. That's perfect. Oh, I'm so happy. Perfect marmalade. There you go. Please, thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you. Goodbye.